Welcome to the Website Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping women in business make the most of the content they're already creating so they can get more traffic and sales through their website with less reliance on social media and paid ads. I'm Jules White, the founder of the Website Success Hub, and I love helping course creators, podcasters, and business owners make more money through their existing website. If you have a business you love but you don't love the way your website performs, then this is the show for you.
Hi. This morning, I wanted to talk about what to do when you've had 100 visitors to your webpage and nobody has taken the action that you want them to. And it's something that I think we can often forget about it. We can often kind of just keep plodding along and not really thinking about whether what we're doing is actually making a difference and is actually having the effects that we want it to. And I've definitely been guilty of this myself as well. Of actually not thinking, okay, so I put this out there and it's the whole thing of if you build it, they will come. And there's that, but there's also that thing of if they come, then they're actually going to take some action. So I see so many websites that either look good and don't do anything, don't actually work, or they work, but they don't do what you want them to do. Or they don't even look good and they still don't do anything. So I think there's so much you can do to take that and actually do something about it and get it in your control. It's something that is very much controllable. We can't necessarily control whether Google does show us up in the rankings and whether people do actually convert, but we can certainly take steps that can help make that more likely to happen, really. So there's a few tweaks and things that we can think about, but first of all, it's taking stock of what is actually happening. So first of all, we have to diagnose, we have to work out what the problem is. We have to work out if there is a problem. We have to work out where we are right now. And often that's something that does get a bit overlooked as well, is people don't necessarily think about what's the current state of play with their web pages. And that is a conversation I have over and over with people with that. I'm actually not sure how many people are visiting my web page. I'm not sure where they come from. I've got my analytics set up, but I never look at it. Those kind of conversations happen all the time. And it's understandable because it feels very overwhelming. You look at these things, there's even the word analytics, it's like, yawn fest. But actually, if you can understand just a few things about how those tools work, then at least you can make some informed decisions. And I'm all about the informed decisions. I think that's really important. So if you can set up your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console and understand which bits to pay attention to, at least then you can know whether you've had 100 people come to that page or not, where they've come from, how long they've spent on that page, and actually what's kind of happening when they are actually there. So that would be definitely my first tip, would be to make sure that you've got your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console set up and that you are looking at it fairly regularly, or at least or looking at it at least once to understand whether something is going wrong or whether the main problem is I've had 10 people visit my website in the whole time it's been live, which that then indicates that, yes, we want traffic coming from Google and from other places where people are finding us, but also that is a really strong indication that we're not sharing our websites as much as we should be. So we're not talking about it on social media. We're not sending it in our emails. We're not sharing it with people when we meet them in person. We're not focused on actually getting people to our website. And that is a really good thing to focus on, because we own that content. And so if people come to our website, hopefully the goal is that they sign up for our email list. Hopefully the ultimate goal is they spend money with us. But it's something where that content is there. It can live forever. The more people that go to your website and spend time there, the more Google will see you as an authority and be more likely to send people through once you actually start ranking. If Google understands that this is a website people go to and stay there, then that's going to help. And just more eyes on your content is something that's really helpful. So do that first. So work out with your Google Analytics, if people are actually going there, if you've had 100 eyes on your page, okay, what's the next thing you need to think about? So I would say start thinking about, okay, is there anything major when I visit this web page? Is there anything major that could be causing people not to stay there? So if it loads really slowly, that's usually the big one, that if people are literally bouncing away straight away, then have you got images that are loading slowly? Does it load slowly on mobile? That's quite often a thing as well, is if we're building our websites, we can be building them on desktop and then not paying attention to the fact that if somebody new goes to our website, because it is different as well. If we've already visited our website ourselves and we go there, it might load quickly, but actually if somebody new is going and visiting and they haven't got all the background, the cookies and the cache and everything already loaded, then does it take a long time for that image to load? And especially if nothing else is on the page. So if you've got nothing that loads automatically while then your slow image loads, then it just seems like a broken website. And so that can be a massive thing that can be within our control. A lot of those things are within our control. Some of them aren't, especially if we are using an all-in-one software where it's or using a website builder where it's got slow code. Wix is notoriously slow. FEA Create has had massive improvements on that this year. It's so good now in comparison to what it was before, that actually you get reasonable speeds that you know, as long as you're not having massive images and things on your site, then there's no reason why it shouldn't load quickly on mobile and on desktop as well. So think about that. That's the first thing, thinking about that, looking at the navigation, looking at the layout of your website. Does it make sense? And it's good to ask other people about this as well. So somebody who hasn't visited your website, maybe somebody who doesn't know everything about your business, doesn't know how they would become a customer of yours, go from hearing about you to becoming a customer. Ask them to take a look at your website. And ideally, if you can do it with you sat behind their shoulder and see where they're getting stuck, see where they're getting confused, ask them for just some honest feedback on, well, actually, you know, is it portraying what you want for your business? What kind of impression they're getting from it? Is it easy to read? Have they got to put their glasses on to read your website? Because that's another big thing that I see regularly. So thinking about that kind of thing as well. So is there anything obvious that jumps out at a fresh pair of eyes that could be massively affecting what's happening and whether people are just bouncing away from your site or just not taking the action that you want them to take? Is it clear what action you want them to take? Is there one clear call to action, or one clear call to action, one direct call to action, like book a call, buy this, whatever, and then it may be a transitional one of download my freebie or something along those lines. So, but is it clear, and is there one thing that you want them to do from each page? Is it clear what you do, how you're going to make their life better, and what they need to do to get it above the fold? Is that there before they start scrolling the page, that it's really obvious what this is all about and how it's going to help them? Definitely thinking about that. Thinking about how your content links together as well. So thinking about whether there's a natural path that people take to understand more about your business and take them through that sort of buyer's journey. Thinking about when they come into a page on your website, where have they come from? What's their level of understanding? And as they come into this page, do they know all about you? Do they know they've got a problem and you could potentially be that solution to their problem? Or are they completely unaware of everything and that you've managed to stumble across the thing that the problem that they're experiencing, but they don't realize yet that you are actually the answer to that problem? Because that makes a big difference to what you're doing on that page. And it might be that you need a few pages that nurtures them from first having that feeling of maybe I've got a problem, to actually going through a journey through your website, through your different posts and your content and everything. And it might be a combination of that and then some of the stuff you do on social media or your podcast or something else that then helps them to go further along that journey to becoming a customer with you. But it's thinking about that on each of the different pages. So your sales pages, people are unlikely to come into your sales pages with absolutely no understanding of your business and to make a purchase. It is quite unlikely unless you've got it really nailed on your copy on your sales page, that you almost take them through that journey from the start of the sales page to the end where they actually are ready to then buy from you. So yeah, thinking about that, thinking about the internal links, making sure that all your links work internally on your website. Internal links are really important, but it's important to link to pages that actually make sense. So Google wants to understand that one page is relevant to another page. So if you've got very different topics that you talk about in your business, or there's no clear reason why that particular blog post would link to this particular blog post, and don't link them. Just keep it to the ones where it is actually relevant. And when you're thinking about writing blog posts, think about, okay, what else do I need to cover around this topic? And what other content have I already got that helps with that? And try and make that content where you can keep them on your website if you can. So don't necessarily say if you've got an Instagram live or something like that, then linking back out to that out of your website is not necessarily the best way to get people to convert, because then they're off on Instagram and they're doing something else. Whereas actually, if you can then turn that Instagram post into something on your website, whether that is an audio feed where the audio is actually embedded in your website, or whether it's a blog post or something along those lines, or if it's a podcast episode, that's a little bit more keeping them more nurtured on you, even if it is taking them to their podcast player. Ideally, again, have that embedded in there so they can listen to it straight away, especially if it's a snippet or something that's going to answer their question very quickly. So thinking about your internal linking, thinking about having call to actions that are kind of impossible to resist. So things that are very clear on what you want them, what action you want them to take, but also why that action is going to help them. Why is it going to make their life better if they actually click that button and go through that next process with you? Thinking about your offer as well. So thinking, does your offer address the next problem that client has, or that potential client, that person visiting your website? Does it address that? And if not, how can you do that? So whether that is then creating some content that addresses the first problem, and then that they then understand that this problem is a bigger thing, and this is something that I need help with. And so thinking about that as well, it's just a bit more taking a bit of a step back and just thinking about, okay, what are the problems that I solve for my clients, and how can my offer solve that? And does my offer solve that? Does it directly relate to, this is the problem that people are telling me they've got, or they're typing into Google, and how does my offer solve that? Even if you know that what they need is something different, sell them what they want and sell them what they think they need, and then you can then introduce them to the things that will actually solve what you know is the overall problem. Does your website match your perceived pricing and your perceived value in terms of pricing? So does your website, if you are a high ticket business, does your website portray that? Does your website give that vibe of and that value? Does your website correspond with all of your other branding elsewhere? Is it similar to your Instagram and your podcast branding and all the other places where you're online? Does your website tie in with that, with what you're saying, with what you're, even within your emails? Does it, does the copy on your website correspond to the emails that you're sending out to your potential clients every week as well? Thinking about that is really important, so that it's building up that trust. People then understand that you are trustworthy and you can help them. Thinking about your offer, whether you are actually attracting the right people to your website as well. So have you dived in to think about your ideal clients and who you want to attract and the problems that you solve for them? And are those people able to take action, and are those people able to spend money? Or even if they're not right now, are they likely to? Have you got something that could take them down that journey of then spending money and becoming a client of yours? That's really important to think about. So if you're working, for example, on people who are dealing with burnout, are they actually going to be in a position where they can take action on booking coaching with you or booking help with you or something along those lines? And if they can't, okay, how can you connect with people who are maybe either recovering from burnout, so they've come through the other side of it, or how can you help people even better before they get to that point? So people who are still able to actually take action. It's not to say that people that were burnt out couldn't take action, but just thinking about what's the likelihood of people actually being able to take action and to move forward with me, to have the budget, to have the inclination to have the motivation to do that as well. So really important to think about that as well, because it might be that you're attracting lots of people to your website and actually it's just the wrong people coming there. So again, that can be looking at what are you doing with your messaging to make sure that you are actually attracting the people that want to be there, that you can help as well. Because that's the thing, there's nothing worse than getting loads of traffic and then realizing that the reason it's not working is because those aren't people they're not your audience. They're not people that you can actually help, really. So I hope that's helpful. I wasn't planning on this being a 15 review, so I hope it's helpful. There's lots to pick through with there. So essentially what we're saying is, if you've had 100 people looking at your website pages or your web page and they haven't taken the action that you wanted to, whether that is signing up for a freebie, booking a call, buying whatever it is you're selling, then thinking about, okay, what can I do to try and make that better? And also the other thing that I didn't mention was making sure you're excluding your own traffic as well. So there's a little Google Chrome extension that you can put on, which then blocks the analytics trackers. And it's helpful to have that, because otherwise you can find that people are spending like 10 minutes on my website. And actually it's yourself and you're the one that's sort of skewing your figures. So it's definitely worth thinking about that. And then once you're in that position, then you can start making strategic changes. So you can start making changes to your website that might actually make a difference and might actually then allow you to have a website that brings money into your business every day, or brings leads in every day, or is growing your email list every day, so that you can then nurture those people and get to a point where they actually are spending money. And it's just a reliable way of bringing leads into your business. So that's my goal for you. And that might be something that doesn't happen. It's not going to be something that happens overnight, but it's something that I don't want you to feel is completely out of your reach. And it's something that is unattainable for you, because by making these small changes and by understanding what's happening, I think that's the big thing as well, is understanding why these things are working, what's not, and then making more incremental changes and just keeping going with it. Just, making small changes, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And then you will get the results. You'll get there. You'll be connecting with the right people. You'll be confident as well. You'll be confident to send people to your website because you know that it's speaking to them. You're getting good feedback from people who are actually visiting your website, reading your blog posts, enjoying your content. And I think that's really helpful as well. So if this all sounds like a lot, and if it sounds like it's something that you could do with an extra pair of eyes, a fresh pair of eyes on your website, then a power hour with me is a really good way to just help to get you unstuck, to help you understand whether it is that you need help, just understanding how to fix a problem on your website, or understanding what's the next step to take, or understanding what's happening with your analytics, understanding whether people are actually visiting your website. Anything where you just feel like you need a bit of extra help, then you can book a power hour with me. And they've been so helpful for my clients. I've just had such fantastic feedback from them about it, just giving them the confidence to move forward and to understand, okay, this is what I need to do next. And whether that is them booking a VIP day and we'll work on the website strategy or your SEO strategy or keyword research or getting an audit or something along those lines. But at least, and maybe not, it's sometimes like with lots of my power hours that I've done, the clients have just gone off and implemented what they need to. And then we'll think about something more at a later date, or maybe not. So it's literally, you're booking my brain for an hour and you can do what you want with that, really. So I hope that's helpful.